Yo, your first Quicko. Good to see you. How are you? Mm-mm-mm. So much trouble. Good to see all of you. Tupac Man of Culture, of course. Ramses. Hidrostedt. Very, very good music taste. Footies Colatos. Good to see you. Welcome, everyone. Today is a new day, new opportunities to go even more degen mode. Shit. It almost sounded like the beginning. Thank you for the blessings. Do 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 do. Good to see all of you. Are you going to watch KC game today or waiting for eyes on K-Cup? We're waiting for eyes on K-Cup. We're not gonna do the go game. We're doing some D plus today. D Kane.
Okay. The winter. Who the?
Was just watching a video on Cap smurfing with Zach. What was that? Zach or something else? Robert Show. Are you officially a content creator? Yes, I'm officially a content creator. Waiting for your modern asylum to take away all the hatred. I am currently a content creator. I'm unemployed. So, content creator, unemployed, whatever you want to call it, you can call it. You look so Arabic. I am Arabic. I am Palestinian, my friend. I throw rocks. All right. Patch 13.1 B. B. Are you ready to begin, you guys think? Or should we wait? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We have patch 13.1b. Apparently there's something wrong with something in the back. Some machinery has been attacked or something and they can't release new patches. So we have this mini patch, but in reality, looking at the size of it, it seems like it is quite the big patch. All in all, let's jump into it. I'm reacting to it as we go. I'm going to give you guys my general impressions. Obviously, the majority of pro play is going to stick around and play at 13.1. Same thing for the ADC. You think that Yumi's going to be nerfed for next week? No, that's not going to happen. The LEC is playing the full best of one regular season on one patch and then the playoffs on one patch, just to make sure that the teams are not put at a significant disadvantage. All right, let's jump into it. Patch highlights. I'll let you guys look at it for 1 second. Surely there will be timestamps if you're watching this on YouTube. Obviously, there's no timestamps if you're watching this on Twitch because you're watching it live. All in all, a bunch of nerfs on a lot of champions that make a lot of sense, and then buffs on some champions too. Let's take a look. Gangplank, 80 growth decreased, E bonus damage on critical strikes decreased. This is with the intention of pre-nerfing a GP in regards to, of course, the item changes that are coming for AD carries. If you're not so sure about what those AD carry changes are, then I suggest you jump forward in the video or just wait. All in all, the new item changes are definitely going to help a champion like GP. Anyone that is buying currently Rapid Fire Cannon or Collector Second will be greatly benefited by the IE changes. Basically, you'll be able to buy either IE or Navori's Quick Blades at basically 40% crit, meaning you can buy it as your second crit item, which of course will be a massive DPS boost, especially for those champions that don't really favor attack speed. So you could be in a situation where you have Prowler Scroll, Essence Reaver, Infinity, and you'll be fully scaled and you'll be rocking. You can see that the trend. You saw those builds on GP when you basically squeeze in 2 Cloaks of Agility to get Infinity Edge going, and the idea is that you no longer have to buy, the whole assortment of cloaks before you're going to reach that needed crit barrier. Heimerdinger, Q turret health decreased, W magic damage decreased. So we have the health down, which is a pretty decent chunk of health. This could make, basically in cases where, let's say, Heimerdinger turrets take damage from minions or spells, anything that makes the turrets easier to kill matters a lot. Obviously, in terms of diving, the turret is still going to tank at the same amount. They've compensated a little bit here with some AP changes that, of course, it gives an AP scaling depending on the level of the Heimerdinger. But I think that this is like a decent nerf, just to be able to kill the turrets quicker will have an impact, especially when you think about like AoE abilities and so forth. Just being able to kill those things quicker is a big deal. Hextech micro rockets are nerfed. Keep in mind here, the base damage nerf here on the early levels is quite significant, considering I'm sure this is also going to impact, if I understand it correctly, this is also going to impact the damage you do when you hit, you know, directly. Because if you hit a single target with multiple rockets, the other rockets do a certain percentage. I'm going to double check what percentage. Little wiki, Heimerdinger. So basically, initial damage, and then we have, let me just try to find this, Hextech micro rockets. All right, so each additional rocket does 20% of the base damage. So all in all, this is a pretty significant nerf. These damage numbers are very, very important, and was a big part of why Heimerdinger was so oppressive in a lot of matchups. So definitely, you know, Heimerdinger will still be really good in matchups where he was like really strong, like for example Heimerdinger versus Nautilus, or let's say Heimerdinger versus Renata. Those are matchups that still are going to be relatively decent, because Heimerdinger, his kit is just inherently good against those champions. But the matchups that are a lot more competitive, like let's say Karma Heimerdinger, are going to be definitely hurt by this change here. But of course we need to have a look. I wouldn't be surprised if Heimerdinger prior goes down with this change. Kassadin change, E cooldown increased. So we have a... Wow, this is a pretty big nerf. I think Kassadin was something that wasn't super OP, but I think in the context of solo queue, when you can get away with lane phases, and the champions that are being drafted are very different from competitive play, I understand that this Kassadin nerf really needed to happen. In the context of pro play, I think that Kassadin being relevant is interesting as a niche counterpick in cases where you see the full enemy composition. But all in all, this is going to hurt Kassadin's chances of showing up by a great deal. 4 seconds on the E is super much, especially because in the itemization of Kassadin, there is not a lot of ability haste, especially with the changes to Archangel. While his AP numbers and his health and his tankiness has gone up, his CDR has gone down, and this is definitely like a pretty big nerf. So you'll have to be a lot more mindful of when you pick Kassadin. Obviously before you had to be mindful too, but this is a nerf that you're definitely going to feel. You know, if you're playing against a composition that is very magic damage heavy or very spell heavy, and the cooldown force pulse goes down quick, you're not going to notice, but in other cases you're going to notice a great big deal. And this is also something that affects his early lane phase too, right? Because the cooldown goes down 1 second per level instead of 2. We continue. Kindred. Kindred has been on a hunt on the rise lately, but the fighter item changes are expected to impact them negatively, while the marksman change will be overall very positive. We're giving them a preemptive nerf here to keep Kindred power neutral compared to their state on live. Okay, that's reasonable too. You know, Kindred is definitely one of the champions who could potentially leverage the IE changes, but at the same time, I think that her itemization has been pretty solid, and I don't think that it's super easy to pivot, because the HP and the Black Cleaver and the ability haste and the attack speed from Withstand, these are all things that are very helpful and useful for the likes of Kindred. But all in all, I think, you know, in line with some of the changes they've talked about on the Bruisers, I get it, you know. But Kindred has been strong, is currently strong. All in all, I don't think this will change her position in the game too much. We continue. Passive AP scaling increased, Q AP scaling increased, E AP scaling increased, cooldown now decreases with rank. So Lilia was one of the champions that really abused some of the items that were in the game. Now with Demonic Embrace also potentially getting a nerf, this is something that is going to affect Lilia. Let's have a look. Magic damage, 1.5% per 100 AP. You have to think about it in the context of the itemization that Lilia will go for, right? She usually reaches around 200 to 300 AP, not much more than that. Considering this is something that you can apply to multiple targets, you know, a decent buff. Q, Blooming Blows. You have increase in AP scaling there once again. And then you have additionally the outer edge true damage also increased in AP scaling. Finally, 45% to 60% to Swirling Seed. And then the cooldown down by 2 seconds. You know, this is going to be quite interesting in the context of Lilia top. I think it's something that we definitely are going to see with changes like this. She has access to more gold, and all in all, I think having, you know, additional levels is also super helpful for something like Lilia. Sometimes, you know, a big conversation is, do you max E or W second? Now, you know, the maxing E second definitely looks a little bit more attractive here. But all in all, I think that these changes are positive. I think Lilia can be played, and I think that we might see a lot of Lilia top. Thank you very much, Inside on Esports, for the raid. Hip Jip, at it again. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Welcome, Last Free Nation, to the bordering country of Yamato Town. We are a humble city, but we only abide by our own laws and rules. And the only thing that you need to do is act by your principles, hold your values on your sleeve, and don't forget who you are. We continue. Lucian, base mana decreased, growth increased, buffed at level 9. Base mana regen decreased, growth increased. So I believe these are the changes that we are seeing on all of the AD carries, but I don't think this is something that stands out. I don't think this matters too much in the context of how we view Lucian. This is more of a convenience angle. This is definitely like a convenience angle. We have Maokai, who's been completely dominating the pro scene, one of the S-tier champions that have been banned a lot, and when picked, looks very oppressive and very tough to deal with. The new jungle was definitely like a big improvement for him. And then on top of that, of course, the Q buff that made jungle so easy to clear for him was a super big deal. And then with people fully committing into the Red Smite, and the Leandries and the Demonic Embrace, you know, taking a sapling to the forehead is definitely not a, experience that you want to take part in. Q bonus damage down, I think this is not a big deal. Let's see at the E-sapling toss changes. You have the AP scaling down, but the bonus health also scaling down. And then finally you have empowered sapling magic damage, 12% bonus health, 80%. And then you have the scaling down. Honestly, I think this is fine. I think Maokai is still going to look strong. I don't think this is going to affect his clear speed that much, and I think these changes will still keep him in power and in a relevant form. The main thing here for me is how hard are they nerfing Demonic Embrace, and I don't know just yet. That's going to be very important here. Nami, W adjusted, E base damage decreased. So we have W, 10 base damage down, AP is higher. I think that's perfectly fine. E, Tidecaller's Blessing, 25, and then basically 15 damage down if you count, of course, 3 hits. All in all, I think Lucian Nami is perfectly fine. I think that it is still going to be picked the majority of games. I don't think this changes it. I don't think this changes anything. I think Lucian Nami is still going to be super OP. And an additional layer to it is, even though Lucian is a very good rapid fire cannon second user, you know, the crit changes for him to potentially go Navori second or IE second is definitely a bonus. So here the 5% AP scaling up as well. You know, you need You need 200 AP to compensate for the base damage down, so this is going to catch up, you know, if you go for regular builds with Nami. Considering Imperial Mandate, the Mythic passive gives 15 AP, you kind of, get pretty decent AP numbers on Nami. You could even go so far to maybe experiment with the classic Mickey build on Nami, where you just go like death cap and shit if you're feeling very frisky and you're rich. But I don't think this is going to push Lucian Nami out of the game. I think it's still going to be picked super, super much. I think it's going to be, important. All in all, right? If you think about W, if you want to have maximum value, if you hit 2 people, sure, you're doing 20 damage less in total. But it's very rare that you get away with hitting Ebb and Flow twice on 2 enemies. So even if that's the case where that happens, you're already super, super happy and you're not thinking of it in the context of missing 20 damage. But sure, there are some matchups where Lucian Nami are definitely more close. So you think Lucian Nami, for example, against Caitlyn Lux, or Lucian Nami against Kalista Renata. Those matchups that are rather competitive and can contest Lucian Nami, those are the matchups where this will matter. But usually Lucian Nami is picked, as a scaling lane, rather than a lane that is supposed to dominate early. Dominating early with Nami Lucian is just a big plus. The biggest spike comes at Gale Force and at Imperial Mandate, and if they've reached that point, they are very scary. Very common misconception there that Lucian Nami needs to do super much early game, Going even with Lucian Nami is perfectly fine. Orianna changes. TikTok. Alright, so damage is unchanged. Okay. It is interesting though that it is scaling, which is above, of course, because you get increases before the breakpoints. I think, of course, that's above. Pass-through damage reduction. The ball deals 100% damage to the first target hit, and damage afterwards is reduced by 10% per enemy hit. The ball deals 100% damage to the first target hit, and damage afterwards is reduced to 70% to all enemies hit after the first. Okay. That's a pretty decent change. It's a pretty decent change. Yeah, that's a pretty good change. That is a decent buff. Command Dissonance, and you have a mana cost change. Really good too. This felt pretty bad to use sometimes in lane. You max it second, and it felt bad to use sometimes. Going on with Orianna is definitely a thing, especially with an ability like Command Dissonance, because sometimes you're using it not in the context of attacking the enemy, you're also using it for mobility and to move to lanes faster. So this is definitely a big mana sink. And finally, our Command Shockwave, the base damage is increased. Wow. 75 and then 100 for the last rank. This is pretty big. I think also Orianna is one of the benefactors, the beneficiaries, not the benefactor. A beneficiary of the Archangel change. I think she's definitely one of the champions that can make use of it, and she can definitely hit some big AP numbers. If you're in a position where you play Ludens, like let's say you play Liandry's into Archangel Staff, into Deathcap, I feel like Orianna is very, very happy with these changes. Will she be better than Victor and Azir? That is always the underlying question. We have the 4 pillars of mid lane mages, which is Syndra, Azir, Victor, Orianna. I think these changes definitely makes her more competitive in that conversation, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see some more Orianna, because she has something very unique about her, is that she can put her ball on her teammates, and there's definitely some champions that can deliver a ball in a very decisive manner to the enemy. So I think Orianna has a place in the meta. I think these changes are super, super good. Rise. Base magic resist decreased. Passive AP scaling decreased. Magic resistance down by 4. I'm very surprised that Rise had 36 magic resistance in the first place. This is a pretty decent nerf. A big issue with Rise and a big part of his trading pattern is that when he has Catalyst and he has Mercuries, trading feels very pointless, especially when you're playing these mages that we mentioned before. And a big part of that is this base MR number that is so high. And this is definitely going to hurt a little bit. Passive Arcane Mastery, 10% per 100 AP, 6% per 100 AP. This is also a nerf that you'll feel. But all in all, I think these nerfs are fair, and I think that Rise still kind of maintains his identity. You know, Rise kind of double-dipped in all of the mana and AP that he bought because of Archinju and how it works. And I think these are fair nerfs considering Rise's position in the current meta. But, for example, Orianna buffs is a nerf to Rise, because that's one of the few champions that people like picking into Rise. So you always need to kind of keep track of that context. But another big thing when it comes to the LEC, considering water walking is not enabled, it is a very important rune for Rise's success. And maybe we'll see a little bit less Rise in the LEC because teams don't seem to be that great at leveraging the power of Rise, at least with the Rises we've seen so far, right? Next one in line is Udyr. Q80 scaling decreased, attack speed increased, R-based damage decreased. So this is a champion that I was very surprised that we didn't see in pro play. I'm not sure why. I can't put my finger on it because I feel like he checks a lot of boxes, clears super fast, can skirmish against anyone, has good itemization, good clear speed, and I think this is one of those champions that I believe should have been played in competitive. Let's take a look at some of the nerfs. Base damage per takedown, which I think is still fine. Obviously this adds up because you have multiple ticks. Bonus physical damage, and then the 80 scaling is down. And then you have the bonus attack speed increased. Okay. I think this is still perfectly fine. Another thing that is important here is how big is the Demonic Embrace nerf? You know, that's the main question in my mind. Yuumi. So Yuumi, I've already read these changes because everyone and their mother posted them on Twitter. And everyone felt the need to comment on them, which I get, you know, Yuumi being nerfed is a very big deal. Attack range down by 75, which is a super big deal. 6 base attack damage down, super big deal. Health regen down by 2, also insanely big deal. Base health 50, you know, these are the main things that pro players like to leverage, right? A Yuumi having such low attack range, she will not be able to like proc rary or walk up to basic attack people and make trading patterns really frustrating because her health is a very expandable resource. You know, everyone else needs to consider their health to stay away out of lethal ranges, and Yuumi just doesn't. We have the passive shield also nerfed, 60 to 45, and then 380 on max to 300. You know, the most important thing is just, you know, the lower end of the spectrum because of the lane phase. This is also a pretty significant nerf, considering the adaptive force. Many games where Yuumi maxes W second just to give her, you know, I wanted to say, you know, her taxi more stats. And yeah, this is pretty big. Zoomies also nerfed in terms of the AP scaling. You know, this is also something, you know, Yuumi gets so much passive stats from her W. Well, not anymore. The move speed remains the same, but removing the AP ratio I think is a good thing. You know, she was dipping a little bit into too many pots with this AP scaling and the double dipping of you and me and so forth. So I think this is enough to push Yumi off the map. Like, you'll have to pick it in cases where you're like, wow, this lane is so free, we're just going to pick Yumi and scale. Now laning with Yumi will be extremely hard. At higher level play, like if you watch, for example, Korea and Komayushi play Yumi Sivir, the way they are leveraging the power of Yumi is super, super evident. So that's what they're targeting with these nerfs. In solo queue, I think that Yumi can still potentially achieve similar things. But this is very harsh. For good Yumi players, this is a giga big nerf. For the Yumi players that have no hands and are like playing to D-rank accounts, thumbs up for you. We continue. E now reduces the opponent's magic resist when asleep. So this is a very good change. A very, very good change. Because Zoe was insanely impacted by the durability patch. Zoe inherently becomes very useless when there's tanks in the game. Think of it like this, right? When you think of Zoe's build, she is going to go Shadow Flame, she's going to go Luden's Tempest, Sorcerer's Shoes. The majority of the games where you play Zoe, this is the itemization that you see. When she lands a bubble on a squishy target, she is almost already doing true damage with these penetration numbers, right? You have approximately 20, and then you have 18, and then you have Luden's Tempest. You know, you are approaching that mark where you are, of course, finding very, very low MR numbers if you hit bubbles on those targets. On those targets, the increase from the bubble magic resist reduce is relatively low, right? So basically, like let's say you are walking around, you're playing Zoe, you have a full spell penetration build, and you're hitting your bubble on someone that has, let's say, Mercs, and they have 55 MR, right? The amount reduced isn't super significant in those cases. This is going to help Zoe in cases where you have champions that are like tanking her bubbles, and you have those beefier champs that are allowed to itemize magic resistance to not catch her bubbles. It makes her useful in those cases. And I think this is a very positive buff. I don't think this makes her lane phase that much better. I don't think that what makes Zoe really annoying more oppressive. So I think this is a very positive change because it attacks her weakness and it doesn't improve her massive strength, right? Her weakness is when the enemy is too tanky and she can't itemize Luden's Tempest and has to go for like wonky items. This is where Zoe sucks ass, right? So I really, really like this buff. I think it's a very clever buff. I like it. Super cool. Very, very nice. I think Zoe is a fun champ. I know a lot of people don't like her because they are traumatized from when she was released, which I get. The whole RNG element of W is very silly, but this buff I think is super, super cool. I like it. I wonder if through this, another layer that you can think about with Zoe is that she has received a lot of buffs that make her better in the support role. Because this definitely makes her better in the support role. If you think about it, if she is a champion that can reduce in some rare cases, you know, the MR of a target by 30%, then you could potentially increase the power of maybe your mid laner, you know? Like let's say someone gets bubbled and then you have maybe a Syndra Q hitting her for a lot more damage, as an example, right? Keep in mind the magic resistance is only reduced for one spell instance, so it isn't like super crazy. But considering she got that buff on her passive that she doesn't need to last hit minions to collect the bubble, maybe Zoe support is something that is worth exploring. Fighter item adjustments. Eclipse. Omnivamp gone, ability haste up. 8 seconds for melee champions, 16 seconds for ranged champions, 6 seconds for melee champions, and 12 seconds for ranged. And then, of course, the recipe is changed, serrated dirk and coffered warhammer. Ziggy. You know, I think, the first champion that comes to mind is, of course, Aatrox, but I think ability haste and the access to ability haste is not a bad thing. Ability haste is a good stat to have access to, honestly. And I have to admit, I am not so sure about how this will play out for the cases where you buy Eclipse. I have to see the rest of the items. Gore Drinker. Ability haste down. So ability haste just is going to be not as accessible as before. 10% lifesteal instead of Omnivamp. 20 ability haste. Cleave damage will now trigger lifesteal. Whoa. Okay. Keep in mind, it's like abilities are proccing the cleave damage. I'm not sure if the cleave damage will only trigger lifesteal from basic attacks, or if it will trigger lifesteal from spells too, because spells cleave as well. So, I'm not so sure. Yeah, it's weird because the cleave damage, right? Lifesteal is only tied to auto attacks. But here, the cleave damage will now trigger lifesteal. The cleave damage happens from spells too, but they are saying that cleave damage triggers lifesteal. So I'm understanding this that all cleaves will apply lifesteal, but not the first initial ability. Okay? Yeah, I understand the approach here, right? They're trying to reduce the amount of Omnivamp in the game and reducing the accessibility to ability haste because all of it kind of double dipped within one another, right? It's like ability haste is a stat that gave a lot of these bruisers survivability and at the same time damage. So ability haste was a super powerful stat, and fighters, all they had to do was kind of just spam their spells on cooldown in order to kind of achieve something significant in the fight, and they're trying to move in the direction where rather than having that, you're going to have situations where maybe that first initial burst and your usage of spells is going to be very dangerous and you're going to have higher AD numbers. But if that doesn't succeed, the window of opportunity is going to be bigger for your position. But already the fact Omnivamp moving to lifesteal is already a big deal, right? even in the most extreme case, if you think of the champion like Fiora, she has, of course, true damage in her kit, and Omnivamp was healing her off of that, right? And Lifesteal doesn't. So, of course, Fiora was the biggest abuser of this, and most champions that were buying Ravenous Hydra, think about it, it's like you have some people buying it on Yorick, some people were buying it on Camille, you know, they have other sources of damage than basic attacking. Yeah, Lifesteal only works on basic attacks. Omnivamp works from magic, true damage, any source of damage that you do. From anything. Lifesteal is a on-hit effect. But in the past, Lifesteal works as well with True Damage Smite, so are you sure? I don't think that's the case. That was only when you had Spellvamp. There was like this case where you like press W twice, you had Iron Will on with Lee, and then you smote, and then you healed a lot because you had Spellvamp. I don't think these item changes are going to make it better for Jace. You know, something to point out, right, is with the AD carry item changes, with crit benchmarks being easier to reach, this might be an AD carry item, plain and simple. It's just a stat stick that gives you AoE DPS. So this to me has turned into an AD carry item. Really. Yeah, the tricky thing here is that, you know, in a lot of the matchups, so Jace and Aatrox, in a lot of the matchups where they bought this, the Omnivamp actually pushed, like gave them a lot of survivability. And especially in Jace's case, he doesn't have any healing in his kit. And that is, you know, in the context of top lane, that's super, super important. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure how this is going to play out. I have to admit that. I have to think about this a little bit more. I think by the time you buy Ravenous Hydra on Kindred, like you no longer have issues clearing, so I don't think it's necessary. I think just Kraken and attack speed is just better. We continue. Lifesteal instead of Omnivamp, AD higher, and then you have 20 ability haste lost. So this is rough, you know. Ability haste losing, higher AD, you know. I feel like this item will be more accessible to AD carries, but a lot of the fighters really enjoy ability haste. So it's like I can't see a world where a lot of these fighters don't buy a Black Cleaver. That's going to be like such a core item for everybody because of the stats that it has. This is quite harsh. Me trading 20 ability haste for 10 AD, you know, I don't know how to feel about that, you know. These are all definitely some big nerfs, I would say. And might usher in a little bit of a different meta. But this to me screams AD carry. This as well, it's like a lot of the AD carries care less about ability haste than a lot of the bruisers, you know? I think Black Cleaver is amazing now. Death Dance, more armor, more AD. So here, for example, you lose 15 ability haste. Let's just read, let's finish it. Defy healing on takedown, 120 bonus AD to 50 bonus AD. Okay, let's be honest, this item was way too rewarding when you got a kill. And we've gotten to the point where a lot of team fights, it's like team fights have gotten so swingy due to items like Death Dance and a lot of champions, generally speaking, just having resets in their kit. I think Death Dance was definitely unhealthy. It's like you managed to kill one person and then Death Dance just bailed you out. It wasn't necessarily only the healing that was problematic. It was just that the staggered damage that was coming your way, the fact that was cleansed, like you're a panda monk from Mr. Pandaria, you know? This part of it was very unhealthy. But all in all, this kind of puts the fighter class in a very strange spot. I think all of the champions that were very happy to buy Black Cleaver second are going to be even happier. I think Black Cleaver is definitely the big winner here. Black Cleaver is even getting buffed. Jesus Christ. Okay, they really want everyone to buy Black Cleaver. So just buy Black Cleaver. It's like, they really don't want tanks. Obviously, Omnivamp getting out of the frame is a buff for tanks, considering Eclipse. But Black Cleaver is kind of goated. Like, Black Cleaver is going to be the buy. It's like, if your champion enjoyed buying Black Cleaver second, that's good. But I think, you know, fighters as a class are inherently very frustrating to have in the game, because, you know, the balance between it being useful, it has been balanced around the fact that it has to heal, and then when it gets too far ahead, it becomes impossible to play against. So I'm happy that they're trying to do some changes, but I can't imagine in the first place how this is going to land. I think some of the bruisers, like Black Cleaver, like champions can buy Black Cleaver, very good. Grievous Wounds adjustments. Grievous Wounds is a necessary effect found on mostly pretty weak items. We don't need to read this. Oh, wow. 35, 30 AP to 40%. Now this is also a very big nerf to fighters. This is a very big nerf to fighters. Fighters are very unhappy to see these changes. Fighters are getting nerfed left and right, because fighters are the ones that are very healing reliant. Let's be honest. Chemtech Putrifier. 20 AP down. Total cost is still 300. So the total cost is not down. Healing and shield strength. Okay. Would I trade 8% healing and shield strength for 20 AP? I think in a lot of cases I would. Application reworked. Now causes 40% Grievous Wounds on any damage application. The ability to apply Grievous Wounds by buffing allies has been removed. Now that's a big nerf. Oh yeah, cost is down 200, you're right. Yeah, this is a big nerf. I am not incentivized at all to finish this item. Like, why would I want to finish this item? This is just going to be like a premium, I have extra gold to spare late game item. I don't see any reason why I would not buy Oblivion Orb and, let's say, Ardent Censer or Staff of Flowing Water. Right? No, basically you have to do damage to apply this effect. You have to do damage to apply this effect. You no longer can apply it through buffing allies. So they've removed the support aspect of it, but they've increased the healing and shield strength in trade for 20 AP. In a lot of cases, that trade-off is beneficial. I would say 8% healing and shield strength, trade that for 20 AP. I think that's a fair trade. But it's like, yeah, you think I'm buying this shit on Soraka? You think I'm buying this shit on Lulu? It's like, I determine way too little who I'm going to hit and not. And even in that case, you know, it's like, if you play poke support, then I just buy Oblivion, or why do I finish an item? Can you buy this on Lux? Yeah, maybe, like Lux would be something, but it's like, on Lux, I'd rather have the AP than the heal and shield strength. So this is like a very confused item. I think this item looks pretty dead to me. I think all in all, the fact that it's so cheap, it can be used to gain mythic passives. Mythic passives are pretty decent because it's so cheap, but this item looks pretty garbage. This is like, this is like, oh, I have full items and I have extra gold to finish for another mythic passive. Yeah, this item looks horrible. Like, this is a very confused item. I thought the cool effect was that you could buff allies and they would apply it. I think that was pretty neat. I think they could have nerfed the stats and kept that aspect of it. Maybe on Nami? No. Nami would rather have ability power. Nami would rather have ability power. It's like, these stats going down for Nami is very bad. And I'm not gonna send my wave. Yeah, this item is trash. Wow, Morello. HP down, 10 magic penetration. Ooh. Okay. Still, you don't want to buy this on Nami, because magic penetration is completely pointless on Nami. Don't buy this on Nami, guys. For the love of God, spell penetration only calculates off of who has the Nami buff. So if you apply your Nami buff to an Azir that has Sorcerer Shoes, then his magic damage and his spell penetration is going to increase the damage of your Nami buff. But Nami having magic penetration does not increase the damage of it unless she's the one with the buff. Don't get baited by these pros buying Void Staff or Sorcerer Shoes. They are completely trolling. I would have to say, you know, I have to think, it's like, I have to think about the cases. Let me just pull up the LoL wiki of Morello. Let me pull this up, okay? So it's 2,500. The base stats are already quite efficient. And then the Grievous Wounds aspect of it is severely improved. The main question, right? It's like, when would you buy this? Is the question. Because we have to compare it to Shadow Flame. We have to compare it to Deathcap, compare it to Void, compare it to Zonya, compare it to Banshee, right? Finishing this item over continuing your itemization in the other direction could be like a mistake. So it's like Oblivion Orb. It's like it's a lot of cases. Like if you're a champion that wants to buy Oblivion Orb, unless you're a support, usually you're going to buy it between your first, second, or after your second item. This looks like a pretty decent fourth item. That's where my head is at. So let's say you are solo AP, okay? You're solo AP, and deeper into the game, you want to keep up with like some magic resistance coming in, and you want that your Shadow Flame and your Ludens Tempest still gets you to that breakpoint where you're shattering their MR completely. Morello 4th could be a very juicy buy, like a big buy, because you can reach like 60 spell penetration with this item, right? So that's a very interesting aspect of it. But if I'm finishing an item, you know, another cool thing about Morello is that it's so cheap. So you get your mythic passive at a very cheap entry point, which I think matters too. But I have a hard time imagining, it's like, sure, it's like finishing Morello is going to be cheaper than having Oblivion Orb and Shadow Flame, right? So there might be timings where, okay, you want to finish up your Morello because you're walking into a fight that is going to determine the game. That is definitely going to be, like, there's definitely going to be cases where that is way more correct than it was in the past. Trading 100 HP for 10 magic penetration is super good. If you're walking into a fight that is going to be determining the game, that trade-off, you know, finishing Morello to get your mythic passive and walking into a fight with 2 core is super good. Another thing, another layer to think about it is if we think about the components, right? If we think about the components, Blasting Wand, Amplifying Tome, other items that this builds into, right? It's like Amplifying Tome, Ruby Crystal, I can still pivot into Shadow Flame. Blasting Wand, I can pivot into Void Staff, but very rarely will there be a game where I'm deciding between buying Morellonomicon or Void Staff, because both are purchased in very extreme cases, right? So if I want to buy Void, I'm not contemplating that. I'm not thinking about that conversation in my head. Like, imagine there was a scenario where, yeah, no, I don't know. I think fourth item, this looks pretty decent. Fourth item. The comparison to Shadow Flame, let's just check the price of Shadow Flame. So that's 3,000, 500 gold difference. There is a 10 magic pen difference if you think about the most extreme case for Shadow Flame, and you're trading that for, of course, the healing effect. Okay. But yeah, finishing Morello won't feel as bad, right? Because you're finishing it for other purposes than the healing reduction, right? But it's funny that we've gone full circle, isn't it? It's like we've gone full circle. Now we're back to where we initially started, where all items reduced the same amount of healing and Grievous Wounds was just equalized across the board. We've gone full circle, guys. 300 years of experience. We continue. Executioner's Calling, 20 to 1580, and then 40% Grievous Wounds. Kempug Chainsword, attack damage. Well, this is very confusing. Like, I'm assuming they reduced the attack damage by 5 because Kempug Chainsword definitely doesn't have 20 AD. Yeah, I think after this change, if you're playing Vi, I can buy double longsword and rush Black Cleaver. It's just better. I can tell you that much. Just buy Black Cleaver. Black Cleaver is just gonna be pretty strong with the buffs. Mortal Reminder. Wow. 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 Okay. Whew. Now this is the Bruiser Killer. This is the Bruiser Murderer, guys. So basically, we are back to where we started. Mortal Reminder versus Lord Dominic's Regards. Lord Dominic's is going to be better against bulkier targets, and then Mortal Reminder is going to be good against targets that, pretty much heal. So the itemization is going to be Executioner's Calling, Last Whisper, and Cloak of Agility, and then 150 gold, total cost of 3,000. Now that is a very expensive item. I have to admit, that's quite expensive. Let me just double check the cost of Lord Dominic's. $3,000 as well. Okay. But you get 5 more AD. And then I need to... So Mortal Reminder, I need to check how much AD it has. $35 AD. So it's even. Okay. Okay. So both items have the same amount of AD. And then you'll just have to judge in game, right? Grievous Wounds versus the additional HP effect. Probably more often than not, the additional HP effect. Like, this is a question of slot efficiency, right? It's like, you can still buy Executioners and Lord Dominic's, and that's fine, right? You can still go for that, and there is no crossover. But the main thing is, it was so rare to buy healing reduction off of AD carries, on AD carries, because of how poor Mortal Reminder was. Does that make it bad as second item? Yeah, you shouldn't buy these items as second item ever. Like, it's going to be very rare that you buy any of these items second. I can assure you that, because of the changes that are coming up right after these items. Yeah, I think this is an item that will be not so common to buy. I think that the punishment for buying like Oblivion Orb is like, you'd rather tank this than to reduce the DPS. Like, Oblivion Orb will be just the go-to item. It's like here, Oblivion Orb lost 5 AP and Executioner's Calling lost 5 AD. That is like, they are not the same. 5 AP and 5 AD is not the same. So, in my mind, I think Oblivion Orb is the go-to item, and Morello seems like a good filler item. Mortal Reminder Rush Vi incoming. Okay, you go do that and tell me how it goes. Magic damage reflected to attackers 4 to 6. Grievous Wounds 25 to 40. Magic damage reflected to attackers 10 to 25% bonus armor. So this is just a Ramos buff, Malphite buff. This also, of course, improves a lot of the tanks against some of the matchups that are very healing reliant, you know. It is a very slight change, but the fact that it goes from 25 to 40% is a super big deal. It's like, I'm going to buy Bramble Ornn into Fiora and she's going to hate her life. And that's going to be true for a lot of matchup stop. Bruisers are not going to have a good time, guys. they are not gonna have a good time. ADC class adjustments. Infinity Edge. Passive perfection required critical strike chance 60 to 40, and Transcendence required critical chance 60 to 40. Lifesteal 18 to 15%, and then the shield is going to be bigger, and then the cost is reduced. And then all of the AD carries are getting some mana regen growth in their kit. Yeah, another thing here as mentioned in chat, right? The fact that you don't need to CC to apply the 40% Grievous Wounds is also a big deal. Very big deal. So this is no longer an item that requires you to reach, achieve some crazy conditions to apply. You know, there was a lot of tanks that bought this that just didn't have good ways of applying CC, and they just lost half of the power of the item. So, yeah, this is a big change. Like Mundo, exactly. Yeah, like Mundo. You can't apply it now with your abilities in any way. No, you can't. They've removed that aspect. Yeah, this part is rough, guys. This part is rough. This is a big nerf for the Bruisers. The Morello, the Oblivionor, big nerf to Bruisers. All of the item changes, nerfs to Bruisers. Ramos indirect nerf, praise the Lord. Can someone tell Mr. Mr. Chatter that when you taunt people, they attack you? So it's a buff to Ramos. It's like you taunt them, you CC them, you didn't apply Grievous Wounds, like they are punching you, so it's okay. It's all good. Ramos players rejoice. Yasuo Yon IE first item. Let's just take a look at this and then we continue. 20% cooldown down, okay, there's enough to the melee users most of the time. Range on hit, okay, and then the siphon bonus magic damage. So basically they just want to make this item stronger for the champions that are hitting it, like ranged champions that are hitting, you know. And they also nerfed it for they nerfed it for fighters. Great. This item is just nerfed for the fighters. The fighters are getting sister-fisted in this patch. Demonic Embrace. Finally, all of the melee AP champions, Mordekaiser and Diana, and a lot of these champions finally have an item to go to, and it's getting nerfed. Funny thing though is that it's getting buffed for ranged champions and that it's getting nerfed for melee champions. So maybe there's moments now where, you know, you go Demonic Embrace on some of the Road of Ages buyers. That could be the case. You buy Road of Ages, you're going to have a shit ton of HP. You buy Demonic Embrace and you're going to be like this thick boy, you know? Could definitely be the case. Essence Reaver. Attack damage up. I would trade 10 AD for 100 gold any day of the week. I think this is a crazy change. I don't know why it's happening. The champions that want to buy Essence Reaver will be super happy. The champs that didn't won't buy it. So I don't know why they changed this. I really don't know. It's like, here Ezreal, here Lucian, take 10 AD. But I guess a part of it is that they want to keep it in line, in power, with the IE enjoyers, right? So I made this list some time ago. Let me just pull it up so you guys can see it. Do you guys see this? Sorry for the flashbang. Maybe I can make it darker. This is all I can do. So, The champions that are super happy. Samira, right? Samira's very happy with changes like this. Nyla, Draven, Misfortune. Draven lost his Eclipse, right? So that's, he's super happy. I wouldn't be surprised if we see like BTIE Draven just enjoying himself. Super, super big. Misfortune is also super happy. I wouldn't be surprised if we see BTIE builds as an example, or you just go Shield Bow IE, And Nyla is also very happy with these changes. Obviously, she lost her best friend Yumi in the same patch. So another group of people that are very happy is Caitlyn, Aphelios Jhin. No longer will we see Collector Jhins. No longer will we see Massage Caitlyn builds. Rapid Fire Cannon provides a lot of utility, but it doesn't give you enough stats to justify it as a strong early purchase unless you're heavily outranged by the enemy team and you need to chip away at their HP bars. Rapid Fire Cannon gives you 35% attack speed and 20 crits. Like if you compare that to PD or IE or any of these cool items, the stat differential is just way too big. So RFC is good when you have a lot of juice already, right? So RFC on 3 makes a lot more sense because you already have like a very strong baseline of stats. So this is going to be big for these champions. Aphelios is super happy. How many times Aphelios is fucking buying, even the build has been improved for him to buy BT second has been improved, Aphelios has definitely gone through this process of struggling with his identity. You have this other layer, right? Lucian, Ezreal, Sivir could be Navori Quickblades enjoyers. But then again, a champ like Ezreal, or Sivir for that matter, or Lucian, there's still going to be a choice there. Lucian Nami is still a thing, and you can leverage the Rapid Fire Cannon proc because you're getting that base damage from elsewhere. Ezreal is buying Essence Reaver. Sivir is a very good Phantom Dancer user, so it's not like she is saved from something. That is the main thing you need to keep in mind here is that, champions that bought Ginzus already had their itemization set. They had their so-called IE item on second. There was no restrictions as to why and when you could or couldn't buy Ginzus. So these champions are less happy with other AD carries having more itemization options. Kraken PD users, right? Kraken, in theory, the true damage sure scales with AD, but Kraken PD was a very, very strong combo and still is. And there are some champions that do super well with it, and there are some champions that do a lot worse with it. And even though IE is inherently a very powerful item, very broken item, especially when bought third in the current patch, we cannot underestimate PD. Okay? Don't underestimate PD. PD is still a very strong item, and a lot of champions can still use it super well. And the stats that you get from PD, just to show you guys, okay? Just so everyone's aware of how much stats you get from Phantom Dancer, okay? Phantom Dancer gives you 20 AD, 25% attack speed, and 7% move speed. After you have achieved 4 stacks, basically basic attacks grants you ghosting, you get 30% bonus attack speed. Okay? This is a shit ton of stats. Phantom Dancer is 153% cost efficient at 4 stacks. And then you have to remember the context of Lethal Tempo and all of this jazz. Okay? Phantom Dancer is a super, super strong item as a second item. Obviously, everything scales off of crit, and mathematically, IE is less powerful to buy as a second item than it was buying it as a third item. It's like, but that's true for every AD carry item, right? But for Infinity Edge, it's kind of a little bit extra. every AD carry item scales off of each other because crit, attack speed, AD, it's like they all scale off of each other, right? But the added layer of Infinity Edge is that the bonus crit damage that raises your crit damage from 175 to 210 relies on you to crit, right? So keep this in mind, right? PD is still going to be a very strong buy. Don't get overexcited and put yourself in positions where you're going to have a lot less attack speed just because IE is purchasable. Someone mentioned Jinx. Like Jinx, Kraken, IE, that might feel a lot worse because Jinx is one of those champions that really utilizes the move speed of a Phantom Dancer really well. And she often buys Kraken, and Kraken Phantom Dancer have a very good synergy going on, right? So keep this in mind. Deft Kaiser buff, that's very true, yeah. If we think about the other champions, right? Like the biggest deal about this for these above is the fact that they can buy LDR on 3. Sigobertus, thank you very much for your subscription. You're so intelligent. You're so intelligent. You are basically the smartest person in the room right now. How do you feel? Twitch is unique, right? Twitch can buy Blade into Kraken into IE. Now that's going to be a juicer, right? That's going to be a juicy build. What if PD, IE, Mythic third? Is that terrible? Doesn't sound the greatest. Doesn't sound the greatest, my friend. Jinx was always IE rusher before Mythic items. Well, before Mythic item, who wasn't? Everyone kind of rushed IE, right? There was just no other item options. Kraken still gives you a decent amount of stats. So we continue, right? To not get stuck. Some options, you know, what Yasuo and Yon get out of this is that they could potentially buy like Witsend, Blade Ruin King, and then IE. Could be something. Could definitely be something. Very important with Yon and Yasuo that you reach important attack speed caps, because attack speed is too important of a stat for Yon and Yasuo. Corki is a champion that would benefit as well. You can just go into Navori rather quickly. Like that can be something that's interesting. Tryndamere should be rather happy with these changes. He can maybe mix up his itemization, but it's not like Phantom Dance was a bad buy on Tryndamere. Quinn, Akshan, Graves. These are three that are very interesting too. Shaka Kao is also pretty cool. Like you can go maybe Duskblade into Essence Reaver, IE. That sounds like really nasty. Maybe you can do something similar as well for Rengar. Like that is definitely like pretty interesting. Obviously, Aksha has been changed. This was just an example. I don't know how good this is. Like maybe you can go Blade Ruin King into Iceborne Gauntlet into IE when you play against a heavy AD team, or if you play against an AP heavy team, maybe you go like Witsend, IE, or something like this. No, it's not enough attack speed, Denoriath. It's definitely not enough attack speed. So yeah, I would watch out for Shakos and Rengars, honestly. This build, when I think about it, for these three champs, super scary. What if IE then 2 cloths on Kaith? You're talking about cloaks, right? Not cloth. Draven uses that build too, no. Draven uses the build with Eclipse. Eclipse, Essence Reaver into like some other item into IE. That's definitely the Draven build. But Eclipse is also getting reworked, right? So Draven is going to look at this. He's going to look at these options. Shield Bow. Like basically the champions that bought like Shield Bow into Collector, whatever, they're going to be quite happy and satisfied. How's GP looking? GP got some nerfs to kind of make him chill. Yeah, the cool thing about GP here is that, yeah, he... Collector wasn't super bad for GP. But a Collector, probably GP was the best Collector user in the whole game. Because he has percentage armor penetration on his E, and Collector can be applied by multiple sources of damage. And the threshold for him to kill people with ultimate is like a niche case where Collector was decent, right? But the biggest change for GP is this one. Like here, like this is a juicer for GP. Big juicer. I'm very happy with these changes for GP. You can go Essence Reaver, Prowler's Claw into like a crit thing, or you can go like Essence Reaver into Navori, into Prowlers, that could be something. Essence Reaver, IE, Prowlers, that could be something. Like you have some options for sure. Item balance changes we don't care about. New Eclipse, really good on GP now. I don't think so. You want the flat pen. And the effect is pretty good too. But could be, right? GP is definitely GP is very happy to get himself some ability haste on that item. So definitely is more attractive for GP than it was before. But would I buy it over other things? That is always what I'm thinking, you know? I'll play Crit Kale in solo queue. Yeah, that's a good shout. Crit Kale. But Kale is another one of those champions. Whenever you bought Crit, like PD was a very good item. Kraken PD with Lethal Tempo was a very strong item. And lacking that attack speed won't feel great playing Kale. And that's the main thing I want to underline here is that don't go too crazy because don't underestimate the power of PD. This helps a lot of the AD carries that were in a hole on the second item. So be careful, guys. Don't go too crazy. These champions here as well, they have Blade Ruin King potential. Collector is pretty much dead. Yeah. Collector is murdered. It's like Collector is Mukdak. It's like I'm trying to think of cases where I would buy Collector, and it's like I would maybe buy Collector as first item. Let's say I go Collector, IE, Shield Bow as an example. Like I have to buy Collector first for it to be useful. And then I have to be so far ahead of the curve. Yeah, you could do a build like that, the Houdini. Yeah, it's like Collector is an item that adds additional risk to your game. So let's say you're buying Collector because you're ahead of the curve. It means just that is the 1% on Blade Ruin King on ranged relevant? Not really. It's like it matters. You have to think about Ginzu cases. 1% damage is still like nice, you know? There were some champions that were already buying it, and those champions would be happy with such a buff. So basically think of it like this, okay? This is the curve. This is power. This is time. I get a double kill. I am so fucking fed, and I'm buying Collector, okay? Then the enemies behind, they're like here, okay? I jump like that, but then it's like my growth is so much worse. And what's the point? It's like, if I am this much stronger or this much stronger than the enemy, doesn't make that much of a difference, right? In a lot of cases, doesn't make difference. If you're stronger than the enemy, you can control the game, you win fights. You don't, it's like, it doesn't matter. It's like, if I'm going into a fight against one person and I know already that I'm stronger than him, I'm going to beat him up. For me to take, let's say there's a substance that in the short term will make me a lot stronger, but is going to hurt me in the future, what's the point in that, right? So this is the collector curve, right? And then you have the guy who is ahead. Let's say this person, he's ahead, but he's buying stronger items. He's going to spike harder, but his growth will be so much better. There is no benefit to finishing games faster. Just finish them properly, you know? There's no challenge, there's no achievement finishing games quicker, you know? Finish them properly. Sure, there's some cases where you're playing champions where you need to press your advantage way, way harder than you currently are. Then maybe buying quick power makes sense, right? Or let's say something went wrong and you know that if we are behind in this game, you're going to lose the game. You need to buy power now. Yeah, then maybe it could make sense, right? Those are the cases where you are sacrificing later power to try to get an advantage in the now due to the state of the game. And that's perfectly fine. We accept that because it's a mindful decision, right? It's like, it's fine to make your late game build weaker if you know that you're going to be weaker no matter what later in the game. But then you're draft gapped. Not necessarily, right? Full scaling doesn't always win. Alright, what else is there here? Death timer reduction. Systems. Why do they put Aram changes and then Chemtech Drake at the bottom here? Aram, garbage, and then they put Chemtech Drake. If I didn't scroll down, I would have missed this, guys. Chemtech Drake has been setting... Where does overheal change? Yeah, that's also interesting. Where does overheal change? Where is overheal change? You're right. Okay. We have 5% tenacity into 6% tenacity and heal and shield power. This Drake also has been nerfed because all the bruisers were the only people that liked this Drake. The bruisers loved this Drake. And now it's been nerfed because all of the items nerfed. 10% damage resistance, increased damage dealt when below 50% health to 11% damage resistance, increased damage. I don't like this. I think this is such a niche Drake that I think it's garbaggio. Like, you know what would be cool? Like, imagine, let's say the Chemtech Drake, if you drop below 20% HP, you can't take damage for half a second. And it has a 2-minute cooldown. Like, that would be pretty fucking cool. This, I don't know. This is too... I don't know. I'm not a fan. This will still be the weakest Drake. Syndra in shambles, you say, but if she kills you off of 30% HP, the thing won't trigger. Right? It won't trigger. Lunar Emperor Trash. In what planet is this trash, by the way? Bro, this looks like Hecarim or Set, man. Look at his face, bruv. How is this trash? Wow. Irelia has a bow, guys. This is a beautiful skin. It's a very beautiful skin. Look at these thick-ass thighs. We continue. Oh, this is very nice. Very, very pretty skin. What is this? This is Kha'Zix. I thought it was Warwick. I thought this was Warwick. Or like Aurelion Sol, by the way. It looks, honestly, it looks sick as fuck, but it doesn't look anything like Kha'Zix. This is sick, by the way. This is cool. This is just cool. It doesn't look like Malphite, but I'm not gonna confuse this with any other champion. This is a cool ass skin, dude. This looks like a Sekiro boss. This is really nice. Holy shit, man. Wow. Prestige Porcelain Lysandra. Wow, look at that red lipstick color. This is cool. This is cool. She does have the skin, but this is prestigious. This is not for poor people. Fuck you, poor people. You're not gonna play with this skin ever. I'm just joking, guys. Alright, let's take a look at how it looks like in game. Alright, it still looks like trash. I think it looks very similar to the Spirit Blossom one. What is acid? Kind of looks like Spirit Blossom, no? And this skin, I've already seen this skin. This looks like the Fey Dragon. Oh, it means Kate. I think on Kate you can go Gale Force IE. Gale Force IE. Gay Force. This looks like Fey Dragon. Fey Dragon Ash, but she has like this thing. It looks like Fey Dragon Ash, or am I crazy? I don't know, this skin is hard to beat, by the way. Very hard to beat. Okay. Bro, Kiana's head is humongous. This is the biggest head ever, dude. Is this always the case? She looks like one of those brats. It's a fucking Bratz doll, guys. What the fuck? Jesus. She looks like a fucking Disney character. She looks like a World of Warcraft dwarf. Definitely does. Yeah. Gnome Regan looking ass. Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, definitely gnome vibes. Kiana Yordle confirmed. Lunar Guardian. Jesus. I'm sorry, but this looks fucking hilarious. What the fuck is this bug dragon hybrid? I feel so bad. It just looks like a rat dragon. The blades are definitely cool. I agree with that. I think that the splash art was cooler than the champ. There's a significant like drop off. All right, let's look at the mall fight. Big boy, Ollie, look at his face. Oh, the skin is sick. Holy, it looks like from Street Fighter. Akuma, Street Fighter. Tell me it doesn't look like Akuma, by the way. Fuck, Akuma is in League of Legends. Yeah, fuck this website. Fucking asking me about my privacy, man. Alright. That's cool. Will you watch the K-Cup game? I can't co-stream it. They refuse to have English-speaking stream. I can only speak in French. LEC mic check is out. Let's check that out. LEC mic check. Alright. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a look at the LEC mic check. It just came out. Let's rock and roll.
I could see all of the disappointment faces looking at you.
This kid, that was awesome.
You're shot, right? Dude, I could see Medic being like, nah.
Wait, what did you do, Niski?
He just sat down.
He literally just sat down.
Aww.
Niski. You can't give instructions to Niski.
Oh my god, guys. First day playing on LEC.
You ready, Matthias?
I'm fine. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay.
We're nervous, bro.
Good.
A little bit, yeah, actually.
Oh,
You don't ask your teammates if he's nervous. Come on, man.
Wow. That means they feature our matchup. We can also play 2v2. I'm down.
Last year we always did Yasuo on 2v2. Me Flagged versus Jankos BB. And me and Flagged always won.
Yeah, Jankos, yeah. I'm sure he won many of those. I remember I did Jankos in the Cardos one he won. It was mega boost.
I'll try to arrow mid, okay?
Yeah.
Arrow here.
I want to start Herald.
So we
Walk up, Mickey, walk up, Mickey.
I'm going now.
Yeah, we
Nice,
hit
wait.
I get him.
I will catch bot, okay?
Yes, I'm starting Herald, guys. I'm starting Herald.
Boom. This arrow is game winning, by the way. Game winning.
When you play Valorant, you have most acceleration on
When I play what?
Valorant.
Yeah.
What about when you play WoW?
There's no way. I mean, whoa, it doesn't matter.
Well,
Bro, I have it on 24/7.
Can you give me like 2 more?
Yo, Zux, like, Excello just playing WoW and Valorant. That's what I'm hearing.
Because when I do it, they're like not hot enough.
Hello, mate.
Hello, mate.
Hello,
Jong-un from...
It's Jong-un from Korea.
Heavy talk.
He doesn't
What's
like
happening?
Jankos, talk.
Yeah,
Like, talk
talking.
how you would talk in game. Guys, be careful bot side. Oh my god, enemy jungle is coming. Oh my god, no, Jankos up 10%. Jankos up by 10%.
I'm worth check here, okay?
Okay.
Oh, nice jump.
Web lit.
Yeah.
Oh,
I need some match top, I think.
So good. Hey guys, can you wait until I kill the Ash? I'm gonna kill Ash. Okay. Let Jankos farm KD. Okay, nice, GG. Good job, GG.
Oh, that's how he got 66 kills. Jankos cheating the system.
Team nice.
Niski.
Okay. Referee, can I ask you a favor? Could you rate Niski's hair out of 10 with the headset?
With the headset on.
I mean, he has the gamer crown, you know.
The gamer crown?
That didn't sound like a compliment, guys. Did that sound like a compliment?
No, crown. Like, yes, a crown. A crown is good. No,
A crown
like, how
for a
can a
king.
crown be bad?
A crown for a king, right? That's what you meant, right? Because he's a king?
Guys, just interpret it the way you want to.
We go Yumi Vi. Yep.
I go Yumi?
Yep.
The boost up on front.
I think it's Yumi Wukong.
That was the plan, guys. That's what they wanted to do.
That's nice.
Victor, Lucian of Flash, Lucian of Flash.
Go Victor, go Victor, go Victor, go Victor.
Victor!
Stopwatch, stopwatch. Oh, I can't.
You can...
Wait, what?
I think we can find it.
Help.
Go Kassadin. Okay.
Oh, look at the bubble, man. Did you guys see the bubble? I'm gonna rewind for the bubble, okay? Look at the Hilly Baba bubble. Hilly bubble.
Okay.
Boom!
Zeri.
Oh my god.
Just one.
I don't know if it was intentional.
Okay,
We end.
I'm with you guys.
Well played, guys. Holy shit.
Oh, nice team,
I guess like me and Niski dealing recall
I guess it's like Marek Brazil.
Wait, what do we do now on stage?
now we start dancing and like...
No, please not dance.
Now I start doing like Fortnite dance.
Well, I can feel my stage buff.
You have a stage buff?
Could I have some sound changes?
I have a stage nerf.
Hello.
From the
All settings good. Enjoying.
Actually, everything is really loud for me.
How the boy is just enjoying.
Depends on those.
How can anyone win?
Yeah, actually, when you talk, I kind of want to lower it.
I understand.
I want to lower it. I don't know if I like it or hate it.
Wait, I need to re-listen to this.
Actually, everything is really loud for me, but I don't know if I like it or hate it.
Depends on who's speaking, I guess.
Yeah, actually, when you talk, I kind of want to lower it.
Say cringe. Right cringe.
Chatting.
Write this. What it is in me?
Oh, he's laughing. Yeah, he got it.
Oh, that's great.
Actually, yesterday I was lagging, by the way.
I love
You
that.
guys lag?
No.
I was legit lagging.
So Hilly was just Hilly was just lagging and playing.
Just okay.
Can I have Kilo?
It's fine, I can Kilo. Nice.
Nice. That's a Juani, baby.
Nice.
Very good.
Good Seju.
Yeah, we killed them all, no? They're fucking... Boom! Nice.
Okay, go there.
Honestly, every time you speak to someone that doesn't speak like English fluently, you always say everything twice. Like, I don't know what it is.
It's a mega disaster.
Oh shit.
Didn't have jersey. We're blue side and he's not wearing a jersey.
Wait, how did no one realize he didn't have yours?
That's insane.
Wait, who even noticed? Wait, where's the jersey then?
What?
Where's the jersey?
I guess it's just at home.
I'm fighting here.
Oh, man.
No Q, now.
Oh no, I don't want to hear this. Okay, nice. We had G2 side.
Going for Zeri.
I'm Q ready. W.
I'm queuing.
Get. Nice, good job.
Nice.
I'm gonna die too, I think.
Keep going. Nice, good shit, guys. Good shit. Again.
Honestly, everyone on Fnatic played it so bad. Like Yumi going out, Yumi not jumping on Zeri, like it was a disaster, dude.
Today the enemy grandpa will int, okay? What the hell? Let the grandpa int. What the hell?
Jesus.
Dude, is it? Am I hearing myself? Or
Put some respect on Jankos' name, guys.
The voices, I think, this time around.
Is that other Barry?
This time around, they're just the voices.
It's just like someone talking from the back of your head, maybe like Armut.
I'm going to lane, okay? I'm going to lane. But you are going in, no doubt. I'm still coming, Abby. Okay. How much for you? Hey, no flash, yes. If you can Q.
I'm more.
No. Imagine Abby lost this game.
Really? Giga chat.
Was that Abby? Haha!
I Q. Really?
Yes! I love that.
Okay, no flash. I flash. Kill him.
Even this?
Nice, it's good.
It's really good, guys.
Oh, you smashed it, well played.
Actually, yeah.
No flash, no flash.
Caps knows.
Really good.
Good job, mid jungle.
I can argue.
Caps
You wanna go
those.
dive? I will argue fountain.
Hey, don't
Go in fountain, I will argue.
If it doesn't
What?
work
We
in
can't.
fountain,
We
don't
can't. Oh, it works. It works. Go.
It doesn't work.
Okay,
No,
fine.
it doesn't work.
Look, go. Hands, go.
Don't do it.
Go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Nice, guys. Good job. Bro.
Oh man. For those who don't know, basically Caps in that fight, okay?
To lane. Kindred.
Caps in this fight.
You got Shadow.
Let me give you guys a breakdown, okay? For those who don't know. This guy looks pretty dead, right? This guy looks pretty dead, no? Jizu's completely vibing. Good call from Astralis to target the guy with no flash. Ignore the Zac Prime. But look at Caps' flash. Perfectly timed. And then look at this. You know, Sejuani is about to crack. Sejuani is about to crack her neck. You know, the kind of breaking. The whip. But what happened? No. Caps. Everyone CC'd. They have to commit deeper. Just deep enough for the Zac to slurp them up.
No flash, no flash. Oh, you're so good. Well played. Really
You're
good.
faker.
Good job, mid-jung.
I can argue. You wanna go dive? I will argue fountain.
Hey, don't
Go in fountain, I will argue.
If it doesn't
What?
work
We
in
can't.
fountain,
We
don't
can't. Oh, it works. It works. Go.
It doesn't work.
Okay,
Okay, no, it doesn't work.
let's go. Hands, go.
Don't do it. Go. Go. Nice, guys. Good job. Bro.
Wow. That was a good video. Super cool video. My favorite part was Evie, man. Evie. Evie was the beast. That was the coolest shit ever, man. Evie.
Hey, no flash. Yes.
I love it.
If you can Q. I'm more. I Q. Yeah. Aha! Really?
What a legend. What a legend. I love it, man. This is by far my favorite moment. And then Healy saying, yo, I was lagging yesterday. Were you guys lagging? And it's like, just casually brings that up the next day. Oh, man. Aha! Oh, man. What a legend, Eddie, man. I love that. What a great video. Super cool. Super cool video. Really nice. Oh, man.
So, can we turn down the lights, please?
Let's continue with some more content, okay? Let's see what G2 have for us today.
So, can we turn down the lights, please? Lights, yeah, thanks.
Oh, okay. It's no comms. It's no comms, guys. Does Fnatic have comms? Guys, there's no video. Thank you, YamatoCannon. Bro, my video only got 30,000 views? Come on, man. That's crazy. That's crazy, bruv. Scapegoated.
Everything good? Yeah, going all right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All good, all good. Someone told me there's a new Fnatic video, but there's no new Fnatic video, guys. I thought there was a new Fnatic comms video, but there's none. You guys lied. You lie. What is this?
Hello guys. Today I got a fresh PC from Showblast.
I wonder. He had to wake up early for this shit. I wonder I had to wake up so early. He's so tilted. Oh, that's good.
Hello guys. Today I got a fresh PC from Showblast. I already have one at home. It's really nice. Today I'm gonna.
It's really nice.
So the first thing I will do when I sit down is fix my chair. We're gonna go up a little bit, and since we are gamers and we play for a long time, posture is really important. So get these arms of the chair properly set up.
By the way, very common myth, guys. Very common myth that you have to sit like this, you know, when you're gaming. I'm gonna tell you guys one tip that is gonna completely blow your mind. Your next position is the best position. Mind blowing, huh? Bro. Not sex positions. Ah, shit. Too much of anything is bad. Don't be static, yes. Try, do different positions, move around, stand up. It's important to be dynamic. That's the most important thing. Sometimes, I can tell you this, right? Sometimes people have back pain. Sometimes people have back pain. And they're like, wow, I have back pain. But it's like, you just have, sometimes people just have sore muscles because they were in a certain position. It's like people go to the gym and train things, have sore muscles, and they don't mind that type of pain. But when it's your back, back pain, I have back pain. It's a disaster. But, thank you very much, Kenobi Cat. That's a great name, Kenobi Cat. Fantastic name. Do an Arnold impression. Dylan, you son of a bitch. I see that the government has got you pushing too many pencils. It's not a tumor. It's not a tumor. Consider that a divorce. Or some other lines from Arnold. If it bleeds, we can kill it. Get to the chopper! I can't scream. I have a hard time doing quotes that are screamy. Get to the... because it's like the way he says it, bro, he's like on the ground bleeding and shit. There's my favorite Arnold quote is, Conan, what is best in life? Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women. Cringe, bro. First time chat. It's always a first time chat. Welcome to the stream, my friend.
I need to put it closer to me so I can have full information of what's happening.
So I used to play with it way further back, but I made the research and most of the time was met with this, that it should be an arm length.
Angle it a little bit. I like to have my mouse pad like a little bit over than halfway through the middle of the monitor.
So now that we have all of this done, we are just gonna go into downloading the important stuff, right?
I go first, download Google Chrome, because this fucking browser is really good.
Legends and all the other games I play. So maybe you play like some Steam games, maybe you play World of Warcraft, Land of Culture.
Then I would need Fnatic open software.
Put on my 1600 DPI.
I play with 3.6.
Wow, that's fast.
Save
Holy, they forced Marek Brazda to film this when he's sick.
It just feels like I need less window time to react.
I really like...
But Marek Brazda, every time...
I use 1600, so I always change all profiles to 1600 in case, something happens. And then for the keyboard, I will also, I guess this is more of a...
Marek Brazzolini, every time the season starts, he leaves Czech Republic, comes back, he's sick.
Process been so far on the new Shield Blast PC? Has it been, like, have you seen any issues yet?
I mean, everything has been really fast. The PC is extremely good, so everything is like in 5 minutes you can basically download everything you need, install everything.
Yeah, that's definitely PC related, not internet related.
A great experience.
Overall looks very smooth, everything.
How has, like, you've been around for ages, how has, like, PCs changed over the course of your career? Like,
I mean, in the beginning it was like, we were playing at 60 Hz and 60 FPS when we were playing tournaments.
I mean, of course.
Yeah, that's true. That's
now
true.
We just go into what we like.
I played against Reckless actually at a tournament as AD carry.
Always make sure the
Because Freeze was sick and couldn't travel to Sweden.
then I'll be ready to game.
And then we were in Sweden. We were in Sweden against Reckless. What can we do?
Well, actually, the FPS are so fucking good, no?
So I like to play on low on shadows, but high on character effects.
Why is the screen blurred? Because they're actively like jerking off to porn.
I like how it looks.
But they've like edited the video.
Lagging. You see in the top right that the FPS is solid. It's not randomly dropping.
Oh, your mouse speed is 60.
Yeah.
Most people have a 50. Why do you have it? You need it a tiny bit faster.
I don't want to be like most people.
Oh, I put.
It was 2015 Fnatic. You were playing them? No. He was in Copenhagen Wolves.
I put chart 50.
2013.
50. With any other PC, you can't really go to 40 FPS, but because we have Chill Blast, we actually go to 40.
Also having it very, very stable. That's the hard part, and I think that's...
Bro, this video sucks ass. No offense. I understand that Pete had to do it for more content like this, please. But do they get paid? This is an ad, bro.
So, get the Chill Blast PC, guys.
So,
Okay, what's happening?
Here, these Chill Blast PCs have custom front panels. Okay. And a while back, I asked you...
Oh shit, now it's gonna get funny. Now Pete is bringing the vibe now. Well, I'm happy we stuck around because I knew Pete was gonna save this video somehow.
That you can put on your...
Galaxy set, please.
Do you remember what you said? Bang. This is it.
I love it.
Well, this reaction.
Do you remember what you said? Bang. This is it.
Wunder's reaction. Wunder Akali. Bro, Wunder looks like fucking Sector 1, the capital, in Hunger Games, the first movie. That's what he looks like in this picture, bro. It's Akali, it's Wunder on Akali, guys.
I love it.
Whoa, that's so sick. What the fuck?
Wait, what champion is that?
I love it.
What champion is Rux? Is that Trash?
That's so...
I only recognize Trash because of the colors. Bro, they gave Rux my eyebrows.
So sick. What the fuck? Wow.
It looks pretty cool.
Oh.
Holy shit.
Whoa, that's so sick.
Look at Marek Brazda.
Wow.
Look. They just made him, gave him fucking muscles and shit. Oh, that's brilliant. He has to just walk in and to see himself like that, bro. He looks like he's about to fuck everyone. Oh, damn, he's about to go to fucking Berghain, dude. He's about to fucking get wild. Oh, man. That should be blurred, yeah. Oh, man. And look, the Fnatic logo is right where his hog ends. Look at Beat's face, is true. That's crazy.
Holy.
Oh, that's pretty sick. That's the coolest looking one, honestly. That's pretty cool looking.
That's cool. I actually love it.
Should we put it on?
Where's Ivanchuk?
Sure.
That's fucking insane, actually.
Oh, Ivanchuk. Ah, that's pretty sick, actually. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's actually crazy.
I'm so grateful from this gift from Chill Blast. Oi.
I love it.
let's take a look at it again, bro. Holy shit. Oh man, Marek Brazda. Oh man.
Nice, I love it.
Look at that.
There's so much.
Vaya bomba, niño.
We actually have one more surprise.
Oh, one more surprise.
There's space above your PC here.
Yeah.
In the training room.
Yeah.
Oh shit, we will have this too?
And there's one more thing.
This is also me. Charlie.
Oh, this is so nice. I like it. Oh my god. Oh my god, this is crazy. Thank you, Maki Blue Art, for this
Yeah, Maki Blue Eyed, you're smurfed on the vein, by the way. You're smurfed on the vein. The trash looks insane. And also the... what's it called? The Z also looks really, really insane. I think Akali and Silas, you did them as good as you possibly could. I am laughing because of the fusion, the marriage of the two. All right.
Guys, what is this? Oh man.
All right. It would have been so funny if they turned every one of them into Silas. That would have been like, I would have fucking laughed so fucking hard. They just made a Silas version of all of them. Okay. Help me caption this tweet, guys. Help me caption this tweet. Bro, my timeline is so fucked, dude. What is this, dude? Girls actually DM first, you just haven't experienced it because you're ugly. Like, why is that in the world, bro? We need the caption. Humanoid stealing ults and girls. That's actually that's actually good. Marek Braz Marek Humanoid Brazzalini stealing ultimates and and wives. Hit tweet. This is a banger. Okay, guys. Ilu boost my tweet right now, guys. Ilu boost it. Ilu boost my tweet. Ilu boost my tweet, guys. I need some Ilu boost. Man, I'm wearing so many Fnatic shirts. It looks like I'm I'm dealing with a tough breakup or some shit, bro. Like, I just all my stuff is still in Berlin. I need to get it out somehow, and all I have is fucking Fnatic t-shirts. But I don't mind. I'm a Fnatic fan. That's fucking funny. Oh man. How about we watch some D+. D+ versus Nongshin. Alright, let's take a look, guys.
If Canyon isn't going to be ganking, I think...
Pog, let's go.
And it will be the syndrome for damage. Either
I am not on the contract with Fnatic. Jesus, they got way too excited. But holy shit. Fnatic is just too smart, by the way. I haven't watched this game, as a heads up. So don't spoil it. Worst rename, DK to D+, or Nuclear into Nook? Honestly, Nuclear into Nook is just such a disaster. Like, all right, let's take a look at this draft. We have Lucian, Nami, Yumi trade. Okay, they dropped the Elise Navidad. Okay, Maokai is in the picture. Maokai wasn't picked. I think Maokai is turbo free win. So we get Elise. I think Elise signifies, you know, that this was intended. The Jace flex. This was intended. you know? It's like, them picking Elise here just shows me that the Elise flex was like with intent. And then they are flexing, and then they have Elise together with Renekton and Jace, very strong early game, right? Sure, Maokai can be strong with these champions as well, but Elise is much stronger early, and you can like set up dives, and you can like pressure like a potential Irelia pick that they've clearly invited in this case, right? They've invited Irelia, and then they locked Jace, and they didn't expect the Showmaker to play the Jace. In before, for some reason, they still send Kana Jace, and then Showmaker plays the Renekton into Syndra. That would be very strange. They picked the Seju. I like Seju a lot less when Jax is out, because the blind picks that are gonna show up here, it's like, sure, you can like pick Renekton maybe, but I think that Seju loses a little bit of weight when Jax is banned. Cassandra was also banned, then Viego's out. Maybe, actually, I think I'm looking at the bans in the wrong order. These were the bans. So they banned all 80 junglers. Sorry, guys. I get confused by the ban order. These are the bans. These are the first 3 bans. Okay, so they ban all junglers. So they invited Seju, which I'm not so sure about. Maybe there's something they know about this team that I don't know. Okay. They ban all 80 junglers, and they wanted to play Elise. I think this is just one of those moments where DK are showing their hand, but it's hard to predict exactly what they want to do in the game. But they wanted to play Elise into Sejuani or Maokai, a weaker jungler, and then they wanted to flex the Jace and pick AD mid, AD top. Okay. Jace good for high elo solo queue? I'd say so. Yeah, he's good. They round off the composition with Irelia. They're hoping to play that into Jace, and then Syndra blind. Nothing too crazy, but let's pay attention to how Canyon maneuvers himself in the early game. If I should pick a side, I think that the early game is stronger for red side, and if they can snowball the game out of hand, then this game is just over. I think later on this composition doesn't fall off as hard as they might seem, because they have very long range and a good damage mix, because Nami does a lot of magic damage. Let's start the game.
It is going to be the Jace mid.
Let's look at the Jace mid, guys. Atlas is fucking hyped. Okay, so we have Jace mid.
Yeah, they get the D+ Kia fans.
Alright, let's take a look at the runes of all the homies. Alright, Conqueror on Irelia, makes sense. Aerie, Syndra into Electrocute Jace also makes sense. First strike, I guess you don't use it as much, and you get Taste of Blood. Berkan Elçin. My brother. Thank you very much. My brother from Turkey. I respect you, man. Thank you. We continue. So we have Aerie, first strike. Everything looks cool here. Canyon with Electrocute, no Dark Harvest. God bless. I hate Dark Harvest in competitive. It's like, people are always measuring Dark Harvest by, oh, now it does more damage than Electrocute. It's so great. But you've applied Dark Harvest 12 times or whatever it is, and you've done less damage 12 times. What do you think of PTA and Elise? Not bad. I think Elise PTA is pretty good. Not bad. I like Electrocute. I like PTA. Depends on what runes you want. This seems troll to me. I think you lose all your fighting power when you do this. Like this, you probably want to do this on the new Yuumi. This is 13.1B Yuumi runes, by the way. But for lane, I think Aerie, like, you're not doing any damage with your basic attacks and you poke, like you can't really fight back, and I think that's bad.
In force today, as we can see, Showmaker taking a bit of damage early.
Showmaker getting bonked, using move speed from his R. Okay.
But it's just a bit of biffo here in the early game. Nothing too much.
I'm not a fan of Guardian Yumi.
I think part of the reason why Dune didn't pick this Aurelia, or what they were thinking in the draft when they locked it in, was we know there's a possibility of a flash.
Yeah, this is 13.1. This is not changed. Put the chat to the side, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for telling me.
The Syndra is a strong pick in a lot of scenarios, especially against something like an Azir or a Victor, which could have just been the evergreen way of playing Lucian. But the Lucian tempo lead, late game scaling, we have Renekton, we see it all the time, right? So it felt safe in that way, but DWG were absolutely ready for it. And this Elise
Renekton is pretty decent into Aurelia, but Aurelia does have moments where she can fight back. So you're playing Cut Down and Presence of Mind. This is so weird. This is like, oh, on first glance, these runes look horrible for Yumi. Like, really bad. It's like you inherently lose a lot of power from Cut Down because you don't have a rune that is going to apply Cut Down. So it's like, I don't know. At this point, just go Cosmic Insight and boots and sell your boots to get gold. You know? I don't know, man. These Yumi runes are definitely mental. I'm gonna just put on some music so we can play it fast forward. We're just gonna review like this. Nah, I'm kidding, obviously. Sorry for destroying your ears. Is selling boots really better than Treasure Hunter? Well, you get Cosmic Insight too. Give me 1 second, guys. Oh, you guys don't even see my drawings. Okay, let's go back. So at least the 3 topside camps, Kana is stacking a wave. Kana is looking to crash the cannon with the way he's playing, and DN, these nuts has lost a lot of HP somehow. I don't know how he's lost this much HP, but it's a bad look. Here, imagine, instead of Guardian, you have a rune that does damage, you know, and all of these trades, all of these basic attacks, proccing Airy would have been very nice, but they don't. Okay. You just use Scorch on Yumi. You know, Guardian hasn't even popped yet. In this trade, Guardian doesn't even pop, by the way. There's no Guardian. So imagine he has Airy and Scorch. He will do so much more damage. It's crazy, Peter. Why are you doing this to yourself, Peter? Cannon playing the super well. He knows Sejuani's pathing. She did wolves and he spotted her. You know, the fact that they're sharing XP here is already like a detriment to Aurelia. And the main question here is if Sejuani will get chunked again. You know, the additional layer of this, right? Sejuani defended the top dive. Aurelia is under the turret. The main thing here is that Elise can't really start the camps. If she starts the camps and Sejuani wins the smite, Elise's tempo will be so fucked. So Sejuani can just wait for Elise to leave. But this is where some mind games come at play, right? What Canyon could do is just walk around and wait. Could be a move that he does. Because Sejuani doesn't have a ward, which is a very important nuance here. It's like Sejuani doesn't have a ward, she has Sweeper, Elise plays the ward, and what you can do is just wait around and wait for Sejuani to start and play a bit of a mind game. But it looks like he's just piecing out. Sejuani still needs to be scared. Canyon is going through mid, and Fiesta is doing well in his lane matchup, it seems. They chose not to flash after the Syndra. I think they could, sure you can flash after that with Elise, but you don't know the position of Syndra, and if you fuck up your flash here, it's going to be quite bad. Sejuani gets to finish her camp without using Smite, which is a super big deal. Here, Canyon wasted a bit of time. I think at the point where you gank Syndra, I think you need to just burn your sums and kill her. Like, you just have to commit all the way. He was too late for the blue, and it's not that great. Is this not little AP on DK roster? They have Elise and they have Nami, so I think it's perfectly fine. They also have like CC in their kit with Renekton W and Elise. I think the damage mix is completely okay. Gale Force also does magic damage. Here Canyon is quite behind. He did secure top crab. Elise now on the Syndra, has no flash. Okay, Fiesta's playing well. Canyon has been playing such a gank heavy style now with D+, actually. It's he's playing a completely different style with this team now. Sejuani is super varied on tempo. Gold-wise, Canyon is good, right? Because he has killed 2 crabs, but in terms of XP, it doesn't give you that much. Unless he shared XP on mid-waves, right? Full control over river now. Damwon, very systematic, have vision on every part of the river. Zombie wards also coming in big. Elise still didn't finish her first clear of camps. Second wolves now respawned for Sejuani. DN keeping TP. Kana can do the same. Go for the Warhammer into Vampiric Scepter. Elise starting this without a base, I believe. So just straight up starting Drake here. Very surprising. Like, they do have full vision in river, so they can definitely adjust to it. And another layer of it is Sejuani, if she's following her pathing, she would have done golems into then her wolves. Showmaker hovering with the wave push. Syndra needs to respect with no flash. Jace has been played mid 2 games as far as I know. We had the Jace game of Fnatic into Rise, which is a decent matchup. Jace, if he can farm, he's really OP. So if you can find ways for him to farm, Jace's EQ is an ability that breaks the game. Always the rule is, if Renekton can W twice, he wins the all-in. And if he kills you with 1 W, then he also wins. But here, the all-in was extended. DN has a very low mana pool here, which definitely like hurts his odds here in the lane matchup. He's just looking to base and TP back. But it means that Renekton then will just have TP advantage. The hope here is Irelia that she can freeze the wave. Otherwise, Kana is just going to build the wave and then maybe base closer to the Rift Herald. Oh, Cocoon slips through the minions there, slips through the cracks, and he flashes out. Places a good E that forces the Elise to repel. Yo, Tanky. Tanky Habibi, could you give me LEC mic check thumbnail? Tanky the Donkey. Yeah, the timing of the top gank is insanely good. Because it's like DN already like TP'd back. And already like getting a chunk is such a big deal. They secured Herald. And Rela needs to base. It's so big. Like this is insanely big. She doesn't have flash. Like, her game is ruined, by the way. Really ruined. This is the power of Elise, right? Having the stronger early game jungle. Like, if Elise fights Sejuani in any of these situations, she's going to be so much stronger. Sejuani will begin to pick up some steam around level 6, which she is now. But before that, it's so hard to contest. Even in a situation where Sejuani was top, they don't win that 2v2. So it's very hard to defend against a play like that. Many platings taken here by Kana is just sticking around because Elise is around. Sejuani is now showing on bot side. If Deft survives this, it's such a big deal because Sejuani shows bot, tries to make a play on bot. And the follow-up is that Elise is going to take Herald and then just make sure that Irelia is not going to farm for the rest of the game. So while Kellin and Deft are under pressure, the trio against the two are not doing so well. What was the point of Irelia in this draft? They picked Irelia because they thought Jace is going top. Oh no, no, do, 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 do. DN is re-entering and they are going against the idea of diving. They're just doing camps. The wave was a little bit too thin, but the relay was scared for long enough. Renekton is now basing, can TP back, can catch the wave, stronger items. Hello, Militaria. I'm doing good, how are you? Very classic D+ move. Showmaker and Canyon, they just dropped the Herald on mid. Funnel gold into Showmaker. Very common. Kellin now taking gold because he wants to have Imperial Mandate. So that makes the situation a little bit unique. But it is what it is. Mercs makes a lot of mid lane matchups a lot easier to lane. It's like Mercs is like a cheat code. When you're watching pro players and one player has Sorcerer Shoes and the other has Mercs and they go even, usually the Sorcerer Shoes guy is playing better. I tell you that much. Some matchups, of course, rely on having Mercs, like a lot of the Rise matchups are that, Jace matchups are that. So, of course, there are some matchups where you need to buy it and the power is just, you know, skewed because that's how the matchup is. I was training mid with Malzahar. That's sick. Were you watching some Cadril VODs? I don't see the point of LCK contracting European players. Like, Korea produces the best players on the planet. It's such a good theme song, by the way. Oh. Oh, crazy, crazy, man. Merc threads are broken. I like that Showmaker didn't back down there. He just didn't back down. He's believing in the Mercs. Never forgets that he buys Mercs when he buys them. Sejuani has ult. Nothing to fish for though. They don't know the position of Nami and Elise. They can't like assume. Actually, they can assume. They see them on the crab. I lied. Gale Force finished. Lucian. A very controlled snowball. Don't give the enemy opportunities. Good wall placements for Damwon. Not sure what happened top that made Irelia forced to base. Elise is now securing bot. They have full vision. Sejuani is on the turret. Shield bow on Zeri. She got a kill on Nami. Ooh. But honestly, looking at the pacing of the game, it's like Nongshim haven't given up like more than they should have given up. And like finding this kill is super big. If they can get out now, the question is, can they get out? They have no flash on Seju. EQ is landing. Here comes the Q. Showmaker doesn't have mana. He doesn't have mana. Oh, the Yuumi blocked. Oh, this is sweaty. Ooh. Oh, very close. Very close, guys. Holy moly. Wow. Wow. Crazy there though. Showmaker didn't have mana. He didn't have mana at all. You'll watch T1 versus Kwangdong? When do they play? Tomorrow, no? Or did they play today? Tomorrow, yeah? Yeah, very well done by Peter. Peter just blocks the cocoon here. He kind of gives them so many odds here to fight back. Really well played by Peter. The Guardian. True to his name. Protecting his homie. Really good jump out there. That's like the number one mistake I do with Yuumi. It's like I don't block like important skill shots sometimes by jumping out of Yuumi. Peter. Yeah, this is where Irelia can maybe fight back with Blade. She has some windows in the game, but if she's behind on the curve, she's going to struggle and get one shot. Because here, like itemization, what comes next, it's like it's not super exciting for Irelia. She really needs to leverage Blade into some kind of advantage. But currently, Zeri is super strong. Zeri won't really feel the reward of her gold and strength until later, because the curve of Lucian is just stronger right now. It's like Lucian doesn't need to finish his second tier boots. Zeri's gonna finish second tier boots, and that's a 1000 gold, 1100 gold sink, right? So she's not going to hit PD, and Lucian's gonna have a window where she has rapid fire. So she's not really enjoying her gold up until the point where she gets PD. Good setup here for Nongshim. Even in the situation where they lose Herald, they're not going to lose... Like, they're gaining a lot here on bot. I really like the setup here from Nongshim to be mindful of the fact that they don't want to contest Herald, but Sylvie just wanted to, I don't know, go to the cinema without a ticket. He was just having a little sniff there. Shoemaker has good items here, so he could have looked for an all-in, but of course he's just gonna get stunned and then waste time, so he's assuming the enemy is going to play well. There's no room to do anything crazy there, like flash over the Syndra stun and chase. There's no need for that type of aggression here. Very important that Damwon keep up the pace, because they want to make sure that the soul is triggered as soon as possible in this game. If they are fighting for soul point before IE is finished on Zeri, they have very good odds of snowballing this game out of hand. Jacob lost, I want to cry. No woman, no cry. Doom, doom. No woman, no cry. Okay. They have to ulting the wave. Drake ready. No finished rapid fire cannon here though for Deft. But I don't think this is the Drake that you want to fight. Nongshim's gonna bite their tongue and wait for better days. Now they're very late in position. I think they should just look to push the side lanes. Irelia secures herself now. She's not getting dove. That's a big deal. While Lucian is basing, they're just cancelling this Drake because they really want to finish the rapid fire cannon. They're cancelling it now. Let's see now if... oh, Deft actually has TP. He's TPing back for rapid fire cannon, so they really wanted to make sure that he has that additional layer of power. Now if Daman decide to group around mid, what they can do is just place the Herald in order to make this decision harder for Nongshim. Showmaker just poking away with Nami ease. They're just contesting that pixel bush, which is super important. They're not placing the Herald this time around. Kana is marking Irelia. Irelia cannot connect with his teammates, but he does have TP if it's necessary. DN, I'm not sure why he was kind of tethering himself to that bush. It was completely pointless. You just need to wait under the turret and await the decision of Renekton. What is the top 4 team in LCK right now? Hard to say, honestly. We've had some messy games. I think we need to see a little bit more. I think D+ and T1 are undisputed top 2. And then the rest is like... Live Sandbox has had some crazy games. It's like Hanwha Life, I don't know what to think of Clid. And, you know, the last Hanwha Life series was also so wild. Like, there's definitely some growing pains that we see from the side of some of these LCK teams. Not gonna lie. It really fucks up the flow of the game there. Damwon get the third Drake. They managed to also... You know, the Live Sandbox games were also completely crazy. You have Brian Blade as well. Like, I don't know how long these things will last. It's just that the pedigree of some of these rosters is definitely like super scary, you know? Yeah, the Live Sandbox games against D+, they were just both finished in 5 minutes. It was very brutal. Very brutal. Oh, excuse me. Okay, this is quite risky from Damwon. Lucian is basing, he bought a BF sword and they were invading, but at least they got out. Thank God for plants. They did get a lot of information out of this though. They saw 5 members of Nongshim, which allows Jace to push a lot deeper, which is of course a big deal. He's stealing the Gromp away. Good punishment here, right? It's like, sure, it's unprincipled for Showmaker to step this far up and to look to push, but he's doing it because he has the information that allows him to break the game here and push another wave. He's going to EQ that. Maybe not. He's just hiding his position, waiting for the minions to approach, and now he's piecing out. That one got a lot of vision in the top side. And now with the ward spotting Sejuani and Yuumi, now Elise can enter freely, Renekton can push freely, and Nongshim are just playing a game of chicken here. They're just trying to catch Damwon players. And now they moved away from the vision, and then Jace is pushing forward, and now Renekton and Elise can push forward and threaten dive on Elise. And currently, just because of this pink ward on the blue, Jace is being careful. Jace is just waiting. He doesn't have the information to walk forward. No one is showing on the bottom side. Now, for example, Sejuani shows on bot. Yuumi is not going to be alone on top, so he can walk on the wave again. This is just like all of the decisions that go into a solo laner that is paying attention and wants to push deeper and pressure deeper, is that you work with the information that is given to you. Always, always, always. I think Reckless played pretty bad the first game. I think the second game was whatever. I think the third game was... Yeah, the third game was... It's like a decent game, but that game wasn't really about him. It's like that was just Jace EQing and Maokai like throwing spells, right? Today in the stats meeting, we actually saw that like Reckless has the lowest DPM by far out of any AD. But obviously you need the context of that. I think the most disappointing game was still the Varos game. Syndra's counter to Jace mid? Not really. It's like a lot of mid lane mage matchups that are counters. If you buy Mercs, you can always survive. Like 25 MR makes such a big difference. It makes a really big difference. Give me more. More, give me more, give me more. And now I have that early ass soul point before 24-minute mark. Very important. Damon staying true to the composition and recognizing that at 2 items, this is where they are the strongest. And they cannot let this moment slip away from them. You know, it's borderline. You can think, if you are Nongxin, if it makes sense for you to give up this soul and then to all in on the fight where Zeri is going to have Infinity Edge. That's like a question that needs to cross your mind. Way too early to say. It's like, if you want this G2 roster to compare to 2019, do you know how much they need to accomplish this year? It's like 2019 G2 won MSI and went to World Finals. That is like on par with some of the best teams in the history of League of Legends. I think it's fine to compare gameplay, but comparing pedigree and saying that they're going to achieve more is way too soon. Player for player, G2 looks really good, but at the same time, I think they are not being challenged on some fronts. But I'm very happy, guys, I'm so happy that Bo and Photon are in Europe, because it's gonna make Europe as a whole better. Malrang was already pushing junglers to think different, but Bo and Photon is going to do really, really well. Okay. I need to go back here, guys. I need to check how Deft died. So Deft is buying... What is that? Guys. Guys, do you see the similarities? Wait. Fuck. Actually, this one's probably worse. This one's worse. Never mind. It TPs on the lantern, I think. All right. Bro, this TP is mental from Deft, by the way. He's completely sprinted it. Wow. This is Death Dance Renekton. He's very killable. Gets Death Dance heal. They finish the soul, but Nongxin is very happy with this. They're gonna reach IE with Zeria for these kills. Like, the condition of the game is still alive and well. This is okay. The only danger is that, of course, Jace EQ and Lucian Nami poke is going to be still very dangerous. If that hits the wrong target, like Syndra, Zeri, in the forehead, that's rough. You know, this... It's like, another reason why I like Ares so much is because together with Moonstone, you jumping around, shielding, healing allies, you can proc it a lot. Let's see now the continuation. The fact that Jace got this kill. Navori quick blade on Zeri. Not going for the IE. She just wants to have more dashes and more Ws, which is completely fine. I think that's valid as well in this game. They have a lot of vision here around mid. Renekton is pushing on bot, showing not yet on the wave. Ooh, Kakuna Matata. Little Q. Electrocute procs. I don't understand why LPK let Bo go. LPK. LPK. Oh. LPL. He was in a match fixing scandal. But he was there together with 38 other people, so it was like, it was a big conspiracy. I don't know how much blame we can put on him. I think anyone who was like remotely close to it was punished. Just to kind of preserve some level of integrity of the league, you know. If there was even a question that you were involved, you got punished. So, like, let's say he's on a team with players that are match fixing. Then you would get punished. And it's not even match fixing, they were stat fixing. There was like, yeah, people were betting money on like first blood and shit like this, and then they would just go into it, and then they would play the game normally. It would be very like subtle, which is hilarious. Yeah, I don't know the whole story. Yaksho Irelia now, but she's still not that tanky. Very awkward to itemize Irelia. Nowadays, I think. It's a big weakness of hers. I heard that a lot of the players in LDL were coerced into believing that it's normal to do. And a lot of the LDL players are very young, like extremely young. It's like, yeah, this is what we do. This is how we generate money. This is what we need to do to survive. It's like, this is normal. All your teammates are doing it. Like shit like this, you know? Okay, that wave was to cancel the Seju Q, I guess. Yeah, quick plays should give you less damage, I believe, but it gives you more spells. So if the more spells are more impactful enough, that's okay. Very important Nash timer here. This is going to lead into Damwon being able to set up very, very good conditions for, of course, their upcoming Elder Dragon fight. You know, taking that soul is so important to just extend the game. Wow, Fiesta. That Unchangel shield really came in handy there. Deft kind of running it down this game, not gonna lie. Kind of sprinting it. Yeah, Deft dying here gives Nongxin some breathing room to potentially take space around the Drake. Yeah, honestly, like, Nongxin are playing well. Like, they are playing very well. I'm not gonna lie. It's like, Damwon is a very disciplined team. They played around timings top, and I think they survived the onslaught of that early game well, and they found some timings to kill the Nami. Like, it's a very respectful performance. And I really like this type of game because it really, really shows the nuance of both compositions. It's like, Damwon have some champions that are definitely weaker at this point of the game, but they achieved their purpose by securing the soul, right? And now the question is it enough? They've definitely match fixed, which is a harsh way of putting it, but it's just on theme with everything else we've said. I think that this Elise build is also a bit match fixing because she just has small components instead of a finished item, and she probably could have had the goal to finish an item. Walking into this fight, you want to have elixirs, you want to have items finished, you want to make sure that you are decked out, because this fight's going to decide the game most of the cases. Let's see now. Erele is not in position. Nongxin, very good positioning here. Canyon finding an angle. Canyon is not spotted right now. He's trying to take space. Oh, here Nongxin are not on the same page. I don't like that Sylvie used his R like this, but let's see if Showmaker dies. Good stopwatch. Oh, the stun, the flank from Kanana. Okay, yeah, this fight, it's like, in this position, right, a big problem what occurs is you pretty much, you can invite the enemy to go through the choke. But if you go through the choke, then the reverse happens. And they're not keeping track of Renekton. DN needs to mark him, right? They're not keeping track of Renekton. And putting Zeri in this spot is super awkward. Very awkward. Like extremely weird. And here Kana goes for, like here, where does Vital go? Where does he go? He has to go to Cotton Eye Joe. Yeah, but Mercs, it's like the Jace has not put himself in threat yet. He's here while his team is hitting Elder and Seju is marking here. When in reality they need to mark the team that crosses like that. And they need to hit the people that are entering like here in this area. This is way too soon. Another thing is, right, they invite the enemy to fight like that and they had Canyon in this position, right? And Canyon is collapsing and Deft is collapsing. Even if they kill Jace here, it's like, how do they get out of this spot? It is just very unprincipled to cross and try to fight into there. Very unprincipled. You can hit the Herald, you need to mark the Renekton from behind you, and then if the enemy crosses like that, this is where you counter-engage and look to one-shot. Keep in mind, they have to enter into you. They have to. There's no wave that is big enough for them to kind of finish the game. And that's super important. It's funny that they have Elise and Jace, and Cloud Soul is such a weird thing to use on both champs. Kind of like Radiant Virtue. Maybe that's the move, guys. I'm gonna go Shadow Flame into Radiant Virtue Elise. That's gonna be my new tech. And they just end. Deft hinted, but no problem. Really good team fighting from Damwon. Really good stable play around Drake. Really good advantage there, taken through top side. Good game. The Demonic on Elise doesn't bang quite the same as other items. ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today's stream on my end. I feel kind of tired today, so I'm gonna take it easy, make sure I don't burn out. We'll just watch a little bit of Damwon. I think, yeah, it's hard to look great. You know, it's hard to look great on a team that is losing. I think Nongshim was extremely dysfunctional, and I think that Kana has a lot more freedom here and a lot more support from his teammates. So Kana is definitely doing better on this team. Okay, thank you very much, Berkan, again for your subscription. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I'm very happy to, you know, I'm watching these games and I would just have conversations in my own head if it wasn't for you guys being here. So I appreciate every single one of you. I wish you a pleasant evening. And tomorrow, hopefully, we're going to review some Vitality and some K-Corp, depending on what's going on. And that's it. Another thing that I can mention, I'm going to be on the LEC Euphoria thing. Not Euphoria, I mean Analyst Desk. That's going to be cool. I'll catch you guys there. So there will be no live viewing this weekend, but the content will continue just as usual. I'll be on the Analyst Desk.